There's a lot more people here than an ordinary daily mass with the boys. And it's tempting to get nervous. But I think from now on, when I say masses in a parish and there's a lot of people there, I'm just going to think of the boys yesterday, like singing their songs, you know? Let's go surfing now, everybody's learning now. Come on a safari with me. Like, at least I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. So that's a big relief right there, alone. But it was really fun watching you do it. That was really funny. Congratulations to Mrs. Eastman for giving us all those songs, and the boys have improved so much. And the coworkers even told me it was like they felt like they were parents watching the boys doing all these silly dances. And they had fun, and it's the end of the year, and it's about celebrating, it's about having fun. But it's also about closing this year well. And I hope that you enjoy today. I hope that today is the best year of your life up till now. Your parents are proud of you today. Your teachers, the priests, the coworkers were already missing you today. And it kind of makes me think, what else could you want? You have it all. You have God's love. You have the love of your families. You have all the love you need to go forward into your life with a huge confidence. Be grateful for all you have been given, and be generous. Today, the message to me is about generosity. So I just want to mention 3 ideas. Why should you be generous? A personal story about me, and I think a mission when I was called to be generous, and how Jesus calls us to be generous. So first, why should you be generous? Because you have it all. What else could you want? You've received so much. You have amazing families here supporting you. You've had a great education and all kinds of opportunities this year. You've made all kinds of new friends, some from Overbrook. And most importantly, you have God's love and His mercy. God's love in the Eucharist and His mercy in confession. And that's been available to you all year. Why should you be generous? Because you've been loved. You could think, I have everything that a boy could want. So I invite you today to think, I invite you tomorrow, all summer, to think, how do I invest all that I've been given? What do I do with it? And to help you reflect on this, there's a little story that I have that I think is really special. This is my first year back in Oaklawn. I was a coworker here. If you go down and you look at the pictures in 2003, 2004, you'll see a coworker with a red tie. And that's me. And I remember this day, 15 years ago. Long time. But it was much like today and yesterday. Lots of really happy parents, sun shining, lots of greetings from brothers and sisters, super happy. Lots of farewells with like red eyes, almost crying. Lots of emotions at all the memories of the year that just finished. And for me, greeting the families of the boys was really satisfying because I had no doubt that my boys, whether they were as a coworker or as a priest now, are good boys. They're really good boys. But I didn't know that is because they have amazing families. And to see all the family together, the family that's behind each boy, was almost overwhelming. It's like yesterday, Alejandro Lugo looks just like his brother. And it's just so surprising. It's amazing. And the thing that maybe touched me the most was that the boys wrote these little notes to me. And remember, I was a coworker, I had done my work, I had woken up the boys early and prepared activities and made my sacrifices throughout the year. But the boys wrote in their notes, they said, Mr. Espelane, thank you for giving us a year of your life. I think that might be a common phrase in Spanish, but it's not common to say that in English. And that blew me away. I was like, I never thought of it that way, that I gave a year of my life. And it made me feel very small. It made me feel like I hadn't done enough. But at the same time, it made me feel really loved by all the boys. And I thought to myself, if that's what it means to be generous, I'm really happy. That's really beautiful because I'm happy. And in a spiritual way, I already started to think, if this is what God gives those who are generous with others, with Him, and as a coworker, you offer your year to God in a way, then I would like to do this all my life. Why not? I'm happiest being generous. It wasn't clear yet that maybe I should be a priest or maybe God is calling me. No, it was just that day I realized whatever I do in my life, I can be generous and I'll be happy. It was a conviction. It was a small conviction that I formed that day 15 years ago on a graduation just like this. Not many are even chosen to be priests, but we're all called to be generous with God and with others. And I think the boys this year, you've started to learn that. You've started to learn how amazing it is to have all these brothers. And sometimes they're a sacrifice. Sometimes you got to put up with them. But most of the time, life is so much fun. And sometimes we realize that because we offer ourselves. Lots of boys who prepared rosaries, prepared adorations, prepared activities. You feel like really good once you've done something for others. And the Academy this year is giving you all kinds of opportunities. Just to add, I'm very happy now as a priest, by the way, just on an ordinary Mass day. Just saying Mass here in this chapel with the boys, listening to them sing, trying to preach a homily, telling a little joke here and there. My favorite joke from this year it's in Spanish. It's, ¿Por qué la escoba es siempre más feliz? ¿Por qué la escoba es siempre más feliz? Porque siempre va riendo, you know? And little jokes like that, I think that helps. It helps the masses, you know? And so that brings our story to the end. And it occurred to me before Mass that everything in this Mass tells us about endings. It tells us about closure. It tells us about completion. Today is the last day of the Easter season. The Knights of the Altar know that there's 7 weeks in the Easter season, and this is the Saturday of the 7th week of Easter. But it's also the end of the Gospel of John we just read, where John says, I don't think all the books in the world could contain all the things that Jesus did. And that's the way he ends his Gospel. And how fitting it is that we have our closing Mass today, when lots of things are coming to an end. It's uplifting to imagine Jesus in one of the last appearances with his disciples. He's walking on the beach, he's walking on the shore with Peter, and they're having a deep conversation between friends. Something we might like to do this afternoon before we leave. And we can imagine we could put ourselves there. We could put ourselves in Peter's place. He just apologetically told Jesus that he loves him. When Jesus asked 3 times, do you love me? Simon, son of John, do you love me? And we know that that was to make up for Peter's denials. And Peter, in that way, he recovers his friendship with Jesus. And at the same time, Jesus has just offered Peter a new mission in life. He says to him, feed my lambs. And I don't have any doubt that that's Jesus' invitation to Peter to be generous. This is what it means to follow Jesus, to feed his sheep, to feed his lambs. Peter was generous before when he met Jesus at that catch of fish. And he left everything to follow him. And now Jesus wants Peter to be generous again and give everything. He wants him to help his disciples. Jesus wants Peter to be their example, to teach them, to lead them. We can ask ourselves, maybe if Peter receives this new mission, what's my new mission? How can I teach? How can I lead? How can I be a good example to others after this year? And the thing about this invitation that Jesus makes is that it's also Peter's path to happiness. It's a call to be generous, but Jesus knows that that's the way Peter's going to be happy. So even if you don't know everything that's coming, I want the boys of this generation, 2018, 2019, to keep today from this Mass. I have to be generous. I want to be happy. I can be generous. I can be generous with my family, with my friends, with God. And so, like a father to his sons, I want to read a quote to close from King David, the Old Testament. Father Javier and I like Old Testament quotes. And King David, before he dies, he tells this to his son Solomon. And I think it describes a way that we can be generous with God. He says, I am going the way of all the earth. Be strong and be a man. Keep the mandate of the Lord your God, walking in his ways and keeping his statutes, commands, ordinances, and decrees as they are written in the law of Moses. In other words, be generous. That you may succeed in whatever you do and wherever you turn. And the Lord may keep his promise to you.